What's going on, collectors? Welcome into Ross Loves Cards. Today, I'm going to share with you all what I learned from Campy. Now, as you've probably seen in the thumbnail, I am talking about the book about Roy Campanella. Campy, I can't read up backwards, I'm sorry, the two lives of Roy Campanella. And you can see the author right there. I'm not going to butcher his last name either, but would very much so recommend this book. It's well over 300, it may be 400 some pages. Awesome book, or in my opinion. If you like Campy, you'll get enjoyment out of this book. If you don't like Campy, read this and you might start liking them. So I'd highly recommend this book. But I want to share with you what I learned from reading this book. And it's actually just two sentences. I learned a lot more, but two sentences I in particular want to talk about. But first, I do want to show some cards. Now, I've showed this card before, and guess what? I'll probably show it again after today. I absolutely love this card. It is my favorite card that I currently own. If things do not change, it will be in my top 3 favorite cards that I own the rest of my life. I mean, I like this card that well. I can think of one other card I like better than this card. But this isn't about other cards, this show is about this card today, or this player at least. But the 1951 Roy Campanella, 1951 Bowman Roy Campanella. I like how he's throwing his face mask off, looking for the ball. You've got the name in the little text block down here. Easy to read. You can't look at this and be like, well, I wonder who this is. But this is a card I picked up this summer. Was super excited about it getting here, and each time I get it out, I'm just super excited to still have it. So I thought you'd all like to see that again. But this is in 51 where he won his first MVP. Also had won it in 53 and 55. They'd win the World Series in 55. Then in January of 1958, he had an automobile accident that left him quadriplegic. I picked up this card. Actually got this card when I was on vacation in Mexico. Well, I didn't pick it up there. I bought it on eBay, and I met it back at the house. It is the 1959 Topps Symbol of Courage, Roy Campanella. And I just want to read the back of this card. Symbol of Courage. Roy Campanella truly is a symbol of courage, not only to baseball, but to persons in all walks of life. Roy's fighting comeback from the tragic automobile accident, which threatened to make him a total invalid, and his cheerfulness through it all have been an inspiration to everyone. It is the same example of courage, faith, and spirit which made him a great catcher. Any young man who has ambitions to become a baseball player will do well to pattern after Campanella's all-out effort. Whether he was winning or losing in the baseball game or fighting against great odds in the hospital. We in the National League greatly miss Campy on the playing field, but are delighted to see him back in action as a coach with the Dodgers. Everyone wishes Roy the very best of everything in his courageous fight. That was written by Warren Giles. Maybe Warren Giles, but if you've watched this, you know I can't speak real well. So Warren Giles, the president of the National League. I guess I can show you the back of that. You can hit pause, or I can just hold it up here to get some more watch time. I'm not going to do that. But anyways, I had to buy this card. And when I won that on auction, I told my wife, I said, well, since I've got that card, I've got to get this right here. This is a bobblehead of Pee Wee Reese and Roy Campanella. This was a giveaway at Dodger Stadium in 2014, I believe. But you can see this is for May 7th, 1959. The Dodgers were playing the Yankees, and this was a fundraiser for Roy's medical expenses. But I don't. They both got Dodger hats on there, and I'll just spin this around. You all may not be interested in bobbleheads. I posted this on Instagram, and I thought, man, everybody's going to love this because this thing's cool. You know, a bobblehead of two Hall of Famers. What's not to like? But apparently there's a little to like about from Instagram from it. But no, I'm serious. You guys may not be into bobbleheads. I just thought that was a cool one to tie in with my card there. But what did I learn from Campy? I'm going to flip here and I'll share with you what I learned. There's these two sentences that kind of ties in what I read on the back of that card. But Campy, despite his mental anguish, withstood them all with the same resilience that had served him so well in baseball. 50 years later, his therapist still marveled at his remarkably cooperative nature and faithful dedication to the program. 50 years later, after he was going through rehab, his therapist still remembered his cooperation and dedication. His showing up and doing his part. You know, Campy, I mean, let's face it. He went from being a premier athlete, I mean, top notch, I mean, MVP of baseball of the National League, to being constrained to a wheelchair the rest of his life, and with little movement of his arms, which the rehab helped build back some. But he could have gave up, you know, say, well, I'll just stay at home. I ain't going to do therapy. I'm just going to let my liquor store profits take care of me. I'm not going to worry about it. But he showed up and done his part to get better. It mentioned about how he was coaching. You know, later on, I was reading how he would talk with other players, kind of be a promoter, if you will, for the Dodgers, but also kind of a mentor to other catchers later on in life. What an inspiration he was. All of it because of his cooperative nature and faithful dedication, showing up and doing his part. When I actually finished this book in Mexico. I guess that's what I was mainly focused on in Mexico, had free time, so I was on vacation. I was going to be reading this book and shop it on eBay. But when I read that, I read about, you know, the dedication and his cooperation. And I thought, you know what, that'll preach. And that tied in perfectly to my next week's sermon when I got back to Missouri. Dedication and cooperation. That can be used in so many aspects of our lives. To our faith, you know, being dedicated, cooperating. And of course, when I was preaching, that's the road I went down hard. But, you know, what about work? Work's the same way. Work, we need to be cooperative and dedicated. We need to be there, working together, giving it our all. Not just working with our co-workers, but, you know, working with our customers if we're in a certain situation. Doing our best for them. You know, no matter what we're doing, we can do our best at it. We can seek to try ways to see if we can be better at that. Improve. You know, not just for our own selves and what it'll get us, but what it'll get the people that are, you know, our customers, our co-workers, our employer, our employees. Showing up and doing our best is worth a lot. Not just that, also our relationships, our marriages. You know, when I'm showing up and doing my best, my wife's a lot more happier than when I'm just going through the motions. You know. But when I read this book, I just wanted to share that, well, with my church. But also I wanted you to share this all with you. You know, what can we learn from Campy? Be cooperative. Be dedicated. Show up and do your best. Thank you all for listening. We'll see y'all the next time.